"I do not want to marry a child," declared the king to his mother. When he saw that they had chosen a mere child for him to marry, he flared up. After all, in the portrait, the princess had looked much older. Maria Amalia became queen at the age of 13, still a child who had not yet even begun her courses. She was raised to be a future queen, prepared for the role of a monarch's wife in the complex political game of early 18th century Europe. The girl was born in the splendid Zwinger Palace in Dresden, a new Baroque marvel. Her mother, Maria Josepha of Austria, came from the Habsburg dynasty and was the niece of Empress Maria Theresa. Her father was King of Poland and Elector of Saxony Frederick Augustus II, a large and heavyset man. 15 children were born into the family, though not all survived into adulthood. From childhood, Maria Amalia received an excellent education. She spoke French and German, loved painting, dancing, and especially music, particularly the works of Bach. She was tall yet slender, a fair-skinned blonde with blue eyes and a lively character. She adored reading, was witty and spirited, and lacked the typical shyness expected of young ladies. She was also drawn to more masculine pursuits, hunting and horseback riding. Despite her outward cheerfulness, her childhood memories were forever linked to the political instability in Warsaw and Dresden. By the age of 9, she already knew that her fate would be a political marriage. Her father had become King of Poland, and Europe began negotiating new marital alliances. The Spanish queen, Elizabeth Farnese, was seeking a bride for her son Charles, the new king of Naples and Sicily. Thanks to his mother's efforts, Charles had acquired the Duchy of Parma, and after the War of the Polish Succession, the crowns of Naples and Sicily. Initially, Elizabeth Farnese dreamed of more prestigious alliances, with the Habsburgs or the Bourbons. But these negotiations failed. France refused to offer a princess, and Austria delayed its response. Thus, the name of Maria Amalia surfaced, the daughter of the King of Poland and the Elector of Saxony, who also had Habsburg blood. Elizabeth Farnese, although grumbling that she was a second-rate German princess, nonetheless recognized the advantage of the match. Saxony had strong ties to Austria, as well as an army, a fleet, and most importantly, gold. Charles's parents did not consider her especially beautiful, but noted, "She is pleasant, though not a beauty." What mattered more was that she was Catholic and a granddaughter of the Habsburgs. Charles himself, who was 21 years old, feared that she was too attractive. "She is very beautiful, and that frightens me," he wrote. The choice fell upon her. Nobody asked the girl's opinion. The marriage contract was signed, and the Pope granted special permission for the marriage. Meanwhile, preparations were underway in Naples for her arrival. She was assigned a retinue of 200 people, maids, court ladies, and noblemen. Among them was an influential woman, the widow of the Duke of Colobrano, who became one of the Queen's close confidants. Thus, the girl was betrothed to Charles. At the time of signing the marriage contract, she was 13 years old, and the groom was 21 years old. Charles Bourbon, despite his youth, was already the ruler of the Kingdom of Naples, handsome, strong, with a fiery temperament, and a love for hunting. When he saw that a mere child had been chosen for him as a wife, he flared up. "I do not want to marry a child," he declared to his mother. In her portrait, the princess had appeared older than her years. But Elizabeth Farnese was adamant. The wedding would take place. "You are a king, not a boy. You will marry and be grateful." Maria Amalia said farewell to her family in Dresden and set out for Italy. The journey was long and ceremonial. The princess was received as a future queen. At the border, the traditional handover of the bride ceremony took place, during which she was completely redressed in national attire, a customary ritual for foreign princesses. Their first meeting was described as follows. He was sullen, she was frightened, but she made an effort to speak to him in Italian. During the first weeks, Charles hardly spoke to her, preferring hunting and discussions with his advisors. But later he softened. Maria Amalia knew how to listen, was cheerful, intelligent, and despite her age, carried herself with dignity. Although she formally became Charles's wife, some historians believe that the consummation of the marriage was postponed, a common practice with very young brides, especially in dynastic unions. However, there are other accounts. One Neapolitan memoirist wrote at the time, "Her Majesty wept all night, and His Majesty would not heed either pleas or tears." Relations with Charles were not easy at first. He was quick-tempered, rough, much older, and focused not on love but on politics and hunting. She was still a girl, having only just left her home, and found herself at a foreign court. In the first weeks, her only comfort came from her lady-in-waiting and letters from her mother. Her mother instructed her to be obedient and never contradict her husband, but Maria Amalia turned out to be far stronger than anyone had expected. When Charles married Maria Amalia, the court had to accommodate another strong woman. The rivalry between Maria Amalia and Elizabeth Farnese began almost immediately. The mother-in-law refused to yield to the young queen, who at first was quiet and shy but over the years became decisive and wise. In a short time, she earned her husband's respect, not through tenderness, but through intelligence, firmness, and an ability to govern. Charles understood that without her, the kingdom would fall into the hands of favorites and corrupt nobles, and he allowed his wife to actively participate in political life. It was she who insisted on building the royal palace of Caserta, reformed the court, and introduced a new style, more elegant and restrained. She disliked excess but also despised poverty of spirit. Her aim was a balance between splendor and dignity. Maria Amalia also showed great determination in raising their children. During her short life, she gave birth to 13 children. She personally oversaw their education, insisting that they learn not only courtly manners, but also the basics of governance, history, philosophy, and even mathematics. She said, "It is not only a king who ascends the throne, but also the mind capable of holding the crown." At court, she was considered strict and cold, but servants and those close to her knew how fair and attentive she was. She did not tolerate flattery, but could show surprising generosity and kindness to those who truly earned her trust. The couple lived in almost equal partnership. He acknowledged her intellect. She respected his decisions. Their union became a rare example of partnership in the 18th century. When Charles inherited the Spanish throne, Maria Amalia became Queen of Spain. There, she faced a hostile court environment, but managed to impose her own rules. She transformed the Spanish court, bringing it more order, discipline, and refinement. She had no rivals. Charles was known for his fidelity and restraint, and Maria Amalia had enough strength of character to prevent any other women from interfering in their marriage. Court ladies occasionally tried to gain Charles's favor, but he remained indifferent, and his wife, with her sharp mind and strong will, quickly put them in their place without public scandal. Instead of competing with other women, she fought political enemies. Maria Amalia skillfully built alliances, played on diplomatic connections, and gained influence in the most closed circles. She was often accused of arrogance and coldness, but was respected for her intellect and strategic thinking. Over the years, Maria Amalia increasingly withdrew from social life. Her health deteriorated, and she spent more time in seclusion, surrounded by a close circle of trusted companions. Despite physical weakness, she continued to influence her husband and the political stage. Even from her chambers, she conducted extensive correspondence, gave advice, and sometimes intervened in important matters. Her death in the year 1760 from tuberculosis was a heavy blow to Charles. She was only 35 years old. He truly loved her and never recovered from the loss. After her death, Charles lost interest in affairs of state and became withdrawn. He never remarried, though he could have, and often secluded himself in rooms filled with memories of her. In letters, she was called a worthy queen, a woman of impeccable taste, and a true Catholic. Nearly all of her children went on to hold important positions in European politics.